I just built the ultimate AI content system that's able to create any types of videos consistently in any length using VEO 3.1 latest extension video feature. Check this out. So let's say we want to recreate this UGC advert, right? This is a advert for the Tai Chi Master app. We want to have the video to be set in sort of like a conference setting where there'll be an audience asking a question, and then we have the Tai Chi Master answering, and then we have a call to action at the end of it. So all we gotta do to set up this system, firstly, is go into this Airtable over here. I just have to give it a video name. I can give it an instruction like it's set in a live conference, give it instructions of how each scene would look like. And once I'm happy with that, I just have to select number of scenes to be 3 scenes, select the style of the video, so let's choose iPhone RAW Realism, and then once I run this specific workflow, it's gonna generate the very first scene for us. Let's take a look. Okay, perfect. Once it's completed, let's go back to Airtable. You can see the status have been set to extend scenes, and we have generated the very first scene of the video. Let's take a look.
Hi, my husband is planning on starting Tai Chi in 28 days. What should he expect in the beginning stages?
And now let's go into the second part, which is the coolest part of this workflow, which is to extend the scenes. One of the biggest issues in AI content today is consistency after the very first video. But now with this VEO 3.1 extension feature, we're able to extend the video from where we left off perfectly based on the instructions that we gave it earlier over here. So let's run this to see what we get. Alright, now it's done. Let's go back to Airtable. You can see the status have been changed to ready to upload and the final video has been generated. Let's take a look.
My husband is planning on starting Tai Chi in 28 days. What should he expect in the beginning stages?
I can assure you, the results your husband is going to achieve will be astonishing.
This program is designed for beginners. Achieving fitness like this is just the starting point.
Pretty cool, right? You can see how the video actually links up from the previous video perfectly. And once you're happy with it, we can then run this last part of the system to auto-publish this video into all our social platforms. Check this out. Alright, and once it's done, if you go back to Airtable, you can see it has been uploaded onto all our social platforms. And let's open up social media, and you can see the video have been posted onto Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, as well as Instagram. So that is actually pretty cool, and just like that, we're able to use this system to generate unlimited amount of videos in any length consistently and post them onto all our social platforms. Now the coolest part about this system is that besides just UGC adverts that we have generated, this system is also a game changer for any videos that we want to generate as well. So let's use an example of an animation video. So video animation channels like CoComelon have been extremely popular with almost 200 million subscribers with billions of views making millions of dollars. But videos like these usually take a full team of animators to create. And so let's see if this system could also help us recreate educational videos like this, and how accurate and consistent would the animation be. So I've created another example earlier on, and this is to teach ABC to children. Right, so I give it some instruction about an animated character with 5 different scenes sharing a simple learning lesson about the alphabet. I choose the number of scenes to be 5, and I set the visual style to be Pixar animation. And so let's take a look at the final video to see what we have gotten earlier on.
I'm Cluey, and today we're gonna learn something super fun, the alphabet. Let's say the letter A together. A. Next is B. B is for ball. B, ball. Great job! You did it! Come back tomorrow. We'll learn even more letters together.
That's actually pretty consistent and impressive, and these are just 2 examples of many different things you could do with this extension video feature. Also note that this is the worst that these video models will get, so it's only gonna get better from here. And so in today's video, I'm gonna show you how I actually built this whole system up so that you can use it for yourself to generate videos for your brand and so much more. So let's get right into it. To get started, this whole tool is built on a no-code tool called n8n, so if you want to use this system, you can actually just get the blueprint link in the description below, and all you gotta do is to import the blueprint over here, import from file. Once you have done so, you just have to connect to all the different bases for the Airtable, your Google Drive file, as well as all the other credentials, and that would take about 5 minutes to set up, and then you'll be able to run this system just like how I did in the example earlier by using the Airtable template and type in the video name, instructions, choosing number of scenes, and so on. Alright, so if you want to gain access to this and use it right away, you can download the blueprint link in the description below, and I'll have all of the setup guides over here, as well as authentication setup videos that you could watch to set up each of these very specific nodes. So do check that out. Okay, now let's go into the flow of it and how we actually build this whole system up. To get started, we want to start off with the Airtable first, and this would be an overview to help you understand how this whole system works. Okay, if you take a look at this Airtable over here, I do have two specific tables. The first is the video idea table. The second is the scenes table, right? So for video idea table, this is where I design it such that I'm able to just type in the name and give it a set of instructions, which would be the main thing the AI use to create the videos for us. And I create a drop-down field to select the number of scenes that I want to have, so I can have it as long as I want. And then I have a visual style drop-down field and a status section to trigger the automation. So over here in the status section, I actually have a couple of fields. The first one is generate first scene, and this would trigger the first automation to generate the very first video. The second is extend scenes, and if we have more than one scene within this workflow, it would extend the scene, creating the next few scenes for us in the video. Right? After all the scenes have been generated, the status will be set to ready to render, which will allow us to trigger the rendering system to render the videos together. We don't have to go into CapCut to edit them ourselves. Once you have the full video, it would actually trigger the final workflow using Blotato, a very powerful and efficient AI tool to publish all our videos onto all our social platforms. And this is just the main part that we have to interact with. The rest of them will be what we use to store our files. The next one is the final video field. This is a URL field to store the final video. And then we have a link to another record to link to the scenes for each of these videos. And this is linked to the second table over here, where we will have different scenes for each of the video with the prompts as well as the other information. Alright, and following that, we have 4 different fields. These are the status field for the social media platform. So once the video have been uploaded onto each of the different platforms, it will be changed to uploaded for us to know that the video have been posted. Last but not least, we have a record ID field, which is a formula record ID, and this is for us to use as reference within our system. Moving on to the scenes table, the first field we have the scene number, and then we have the video prompt for each of the scene URL, the scene ID, and then the rest of them is actually linked to the other record, which is the video ideas table over here, where it's able to help us make sure that the scenes are actually generated under the correct video idea. And lastly, we will have a VEO 3 task ID, and this is important for us to use the VEO 3.1 extension feature to extend the videos. And what the task ID do is to reference the previous video so they can generate the next scene consistently. Alright, and that's it for the Airtable. Pretty straightforward. So similarly, if you have the blueprint, you just have to copy the base over here. Click this, and you just have to copy the base and use it accordingly. Alright, now that we are done with the Airtable, let's go into n8n. This is where all the magic happens, allowing us to generate the videos using the AI features. In this system, we have 4 main categories. The first one is to generate the first scene, and so this is to generate the very first scene using the VEO 3.1 model. And after that, we have the second section, which is to extend the scenes. So this will create the extended scenes for us. Once each of the scenes have been generated, we have a render video workflow that allows us to render the video together. This is sort of like our very own video editor. And lastly, we have the publishing system that allows us to publish our videos onto all our social platforms with a unique caption created by the publishing agent as well. Okay, so let's run through each of them to see how they work. So let's start off by going to executions. Let's take a look at the very first one. Okay, so for generating the scenes, the very first thing we want to do is to search records. We're going to search the main table for the video idea. We're going to find the status to be generate first scene over here. And what this does is to get the information like the instructions, the number of scenes, and so on. Okay, after you've done so, we will send the information to a scene generator agent, and this agent would actually receive the number of scenes, instructions, and the visual style. Using this information, we actually give it a system message, which is a set of instructions on how to create the very first video prompt for us to generate the very first scene. Okay, I also give it some examples as well over here. And once that is done, we'll get an output, which is for the very first scene of the video. Alright. And then once we have the very first prompt, we're going to send it over to our VEO 3.1 model. Okay, so how do we do that is we actually create another workflow. We actually created a sub workflow over here. So if I were to open this up, you can see this is the VEO 3.1 workflow. And what it does is that it will send over the prompt, and it will run through the VEO 3.1 model. And once we get the video, it will actually send it back to the workflow over here. Alright. And so we're just going to send over the prompt, which would be the output from the scenes generator agent. We're going to choose the model to be VEO 3 fast, aspect ratio 16:9. Once we have that, let's go into the VEO 3.1 model to see how this works. If you go into one of our previous executions, you can see after it received the prompt, okay, it's going to run through the VEO 3 model using key AI over here. So what it does is that it's going to pass all the information into VEO 3, and then we'll have a wait node to wait for the video to be generated, and we're going to get the video status over here to check if the video have been generated or not. We're going to use the JSON task ID previously, okay, and then if it's not working, we're going to loop it over again to wait a bit longer, and once it's ready, we're going to send the video over with another HTTP request node to get the final video. All right, and this final video is from the URL over here. Okay, once we have the final video, pretty straightforward, just gotta send it back over to the workflow here, and then we're just going to upload the video. All right, I'm gonna give it the file name, and I mapped it from the very first node to make sure that the name of the video file we upload to Google Drive is the same as the one we have set, so that we can easily reference it later on. I also set this specific expression over here, item index +1, so that if we have additional scenes later on, we can number them accordingly as well. Okay, once we have this, we're gonna have to update the Airtable once again. I'm gonna create a new field in the scenes table where I'm gonna number the scene, okay, give it the prompt from the previous node, give it the URL, and then from there, we want to make sure to connect it to the correct video idea. So we have to get the record ID from the search record node. And then we want to send over the VEO 3 task ID, right? This is super important for us to extend the specific scene properly. And so how we get that is from the VEO 3 node over here. We just have to pass over the task ID. And once we update this, right, we're going to set an if node. And this is because if the number of scenes is equals to 1, the video have been completed. And if that's the case, we're just going to update the record, and we're going to change the status to ready to upload. If it's not, we're just going to update the video ideas record once again, and this time we're going to change the status to extend scenes, right, so that we can trigger the next workflow to create the other scenes for us. Okay, once again, we want to make sure to connect it with the search record ID, make sure to map it accordingly as well. All right, perfect. Once this part is completed, we're going to move on to the second section, which is to extend the scenes. And so very similarly, how I actually designed this is that it's going to search the Airtable once again for the status, this time to be extend scenes. Okay, once it gets that, it's going to search the scenes and then find the formula main ID equals to JSON ID. Right, this is so that we can get the correct scenes for the specific video, and then we're just going to number it. Right, this numbering is so that we can loop it to generate the next few extended scenes. What this does, you can look from here, is that we're going to plus one number to the current scene that have been sent over. So let's say if it's scene 1, we're going to have the next scene number to be scene 1 + 1, which is equals to 2. And then for the total number of scenes, we're going to take it from the Airtable over here. So what this does is that we actually have an if node afterwards, that if the next scene number is greater than the total number of scenes, it would actually complete the flow and update the record. If not, it will generate the next scene and the next scene over and over again. This is how we create a loop to generate different numbers of scenes for us. So depending on whether we have 2 scenes, 3 scenes, or 5 scenes, it would just keep generating. And after it generates all the different scenes, it would update the record with all the scenes in the Airtable. Okay, and so how it actually generates the scene, right? This is the exciting part. This is also one of the key updated features of this video for VEO 3.1. So how we actually done so is to firstly analyze the video. And so to analyze the video, we actually use file AI, video understanding, and from there we actually send the video over for the specific scene. Okay, and this will be from here. Right, we want to get the video URL. We give it a prompt to analyze the video. We have an AI to analyze the video for us and give us a final output of how the video would look like. Okay, same thing here. We have a wait node, and then we have a analysis node to get the final analysis. And once we have the final analysis, we're going to send it over to the VEO extension agent. It's going to get a currency number. It's going to get the instructions as well as the analysis of the previous video. With this information, it's going to create the next prompt for us for the next scene, right? So based on that, I gave it some instructions on what it should do, what it should take note of, such as to prioritize the instructions that we have to generate the prompt for the next scene and make sure it's congruent to the scene earlier. Okay, and once the VEO extension agent has provided another prompt, we're going to send it over to the VEO 3.1 extended video workflow. So similar to the VEO 3 workflow earlier on, we're going to send over the VEO 3 task ID, and then we're going to send over the prompt for the next video. And now let's go into the workflow to see how this works. So similarly, this time it will be sent over to this other workflow, okay? And it's going to run through the VEO 3.1 extension feature over here. So you can see the URL is VEO extend, right? And we want to send over the task ID as well as the prompt. And what this does very quickly is that it will generate the next video for us. Similarly, a wait node, getting the status, and once that is completed, we will get the final video for the next scene. Once we have that, it will send it back over here to the main workflow, and then we just have to upload the file to our Google Drive, update the Airtable by creating a new record with the next scene number, the prompt, the scene URL, video idea, as well as the next task ID. Okay, it's going to loop back and repeat the whole process with the new task ID to generate the next scene over and over again until it's completed the whole process, and then you update the final Airtable, and then you'll change the status to ready to render. And after this workflow is completed, by this point you would have gotten all the different scenes generated for yourself. And now here's where the value of rendering the videos together comes in handy. Okay, so what happens today is that currently, as we were to generate the next extended scene, one of the problems is that if you were to take a look at the previous video that we have earlier, let's take a look at the first video ending. You see, right, and you go to the second video that has been generated. Let's take a look over here.
Stages.
Right, you can see there is a repeat of the very first second. That's an overlap. And so to fix this exact problem, what I've actually done is to actually cut off the very first second of the next video so that we can actually piece them together perfectly. So usually at this point, if you were to not automate this whole process, you would just take the clips and they will still be good to go, and you'll go into a video editor like CapCut to cut them all together, and you just have to trim off the excess portion to really get the video edited the way you want. But to take it one step further, we want to automate this whole process, and we want to make AI do the work for us. So I actually use a tool called ShotStack, which allows me to render the videos, right? And so in ShotStack, you can actually create different templates like this one over here, just like a video editor. And then once you have the template you want, you can just get the JSON template over here, and you can use that as a template to recreate different types of videos in the same edited format. And so in this specific case, we want to make the rendering system be able to connect all the videos by removing the first second. But the next interesting part is we want to make it dynamic as well, right? Such that the video can be 3 scenes, 5 scenes, 10 scenes, and it will still connect them together in the format that we want, trimming off the very first second to connect them closely together. So how I've actually done that is to use the ShotStack API, and we created a new node called Merge Cut. So if you take a look at Merge Cut, what I've actually done is that after it's gotten the video URLs, what I've done is to create a code over here, which will create a template for us that is used for ShotStack. You can see, pretty similar, right? And this template itself is actually dynamic. If there are more than 3 URLs, the specific output would change with, let's say, 5 different assets this time. And then next is to compile them into one final JSON template and then send them over to ShotStack. And so this is super cool because the final template sent over to ShotStack is different every single point of time. So that makes this like my dynamic video editor, something you can all think about as the next level of content creation and editing. You can not only create static templates to render videos for you, but using tools like ShotStack, you can actually create dynamic templates to render the video for you in the specific way that you want that's not restricted. The Tai Chi video has 3 scenes, but the Cluely video have 5 scenes, and they're all still rendered perfectly, removing the very first second. Right, once we run through the render video system, similarly, we're going to search the record, right? We're going to get the scenes for ready to render, and then we're going to split out each of the scene to get the URL, okay? And once we get the URL, we're just going to download the final URL into a binary file over here, okay? And once we download them, we're going to upload them into KI as a temporary file so that we can render them together afterwards. And then we combine them together to get something that looks like this, which is an array. I use this code node. And afterwards, after combining them together, what we're going to do is to send them over to the merge cut node. Right, as we've seen earlier over here, it's going to get the dynamic JSON template that we have. So you can take a look over here. It sends over the video, as well as it sets trim to 1, which is to trim the very first second of the video, right? It will trim 1 for all of them, and then you render the final video for us. And over here, we're going to send it over to ShotStack to render the video, and then we have a wait node once again, and then we want to get the status of the video. And once this is completed, we're going to get the final video over here. And then we're just going to similarly upload the video as the final video and update the Airtable record with the final video, as well as changing the status to ready to upload. And that's how we got our full video, like the Cluely video earlier on, as well as the Tai Chi video in different lengths as well. So once again, a super cool feature, and why building our own content systems is truly valuable, because you can build different types of rendering formats, such as adding captions and other types of cuts depending on what you want in your own customized system. Okay, and once this is completed, we are down to our final section, which is to publish the videos onto all our social platforms. Okay, and so this is pretty straightforward, and all we gotta do is to use a tool called Blotato. And so Blotato is an amazing tool that allows us to publish our content onto all our social platforms without having to go through complicated API hassles, as well as restrictions from the different social platforms. This is useful if you want to get your videos posted in a safe and efficient manner. You can sign up for a free trial and you just have to log in. Okay, and once you have that, you just have to go into settings and you can just connect to all your social platforms. And there are all 9 main social platforms, so it's actually pretty intuitive. You just have to log into your accounts and you'll connect them accordingly. Alright, and once you have done so, you just have to get your API keys and connect it via the Blotato node over here by connecting to your Blotato account. Alright, and once this is completed, let's take a look at how this system works. The first thing we've done is also to search the video ideas table. We want to set the status to ready to upload this time, and then you'll find the videos that are ready to upload and send it over to a publishing agent. So I've created a publishing agent that takes in the video name and description, and using that we give it an instruction to come out with 4 different outputs for Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. And thanks to the structured output parser that I have over here, I have all of the different outputs in different views. Once I have that, I'll upload the video that we want to upload into a temporary file using Blotato. Okay, and once that is completed, we're going to publish the video onto all our social platforms, starting from Instagram. We just have to send over the media URL, and then we can get the description from the publishing agent for Instagram. We just have to choose our account, and then we can select the media type of the video. And then same for YouTube, connect our prompt, the media URL, as well as the title, and similarly for TikTok as well. You can also set up the different settings for TikTok as well, similarly for Facebook. Right, and that's not all. You could also publish to other platforms if you would like. You just have to connect them into this system as well. And once the video have been posted onto each of the social platforms, we will have a note for each of them to update the status. So for Instagram, we'll update the Instagram status to upload, as well as for YouTube to upload it, and TikTok and Facebook as well. Okay, we're gonna merge them together afterwards. And then we're just going to have a if node such that if all the fields have been set to uploaded, we're going to change the final status to uploaded videos. And that's it. That's how we get all the videos uploaded onto all our social platforms, as you have seen earlier on over here. Okay, and just like that, this is how you can take advantage of VEO 3.1 new extend video feature to generate videos consistently in any length that you like. Also, as you can see from this example, these models are actually changing rapidly, and one of the best ways to really leverage these systems for your own specific use cases is to customize them exactly to get the results that you want. This is just one example of how you can build a content system, but there are many different examples and many different use cases that you would like to use this system for. So if you want to go further into designing your own systems like this, as well as learning how to adapt them to new models as they come out along the way, you can actually join my community link in the description below, where we have a step-by-step guide to help you get started with building your very own content systems, as well as all of these plug-and-play blueprints and community systems that will actually build for your own specific use case. Besides that, we also have weekly tech support to help you get unstuck along the way. So if you're interested to get ahead to build AI content systems like this for yourself or for your clients to really take advantage of this AI content opportunity today, you can join my community, link in description below. And so that's it for today's video. I hope you found this valuable. If you like videos like this, do give it a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.